Good morning, Picklewaxen students, parents, and families. It is our 10th week of Monday Morning Mantras and our final week for the 2019-20 school year. Today we have a special guest, but I'll let my co-hosts and special guests introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. It's Miss Truesdale. I know you're going to be sad that this is the last time you hear my voice.
Good morning, everybody. It's Miss Meraldo.
And it won't be the last time, Mrs. Truesdale. They can always call the school and just listen to your voice.
No, they cannot. We're not in the building yet.
Okay, but eventually. That's the goal.
Last voice of this year.
There you go. Well, again, here's our normal intro slide that we have every week with our special guest, Miss Rallo, with her reading bee.
Woo!
Yep. And Miss Morado, I know you're so proud of me because I have read 3 books in a week and a half.
That is fantastic. What did you read?
I read The Hunger Games because I'd never read that series. And once I get hooked, that's it.
Ah, very good. The prequel just came out.
Yes. And I'm lucky to have a friend who just finished it. So I'll be getting that this week as well.
Nice. You'll be ahead of me then.
Well, this week, because there's so many things going on in the country, we wanted to start off with something a little more serious. And you'll see on the screen that we have a quote from Martin Luther King Jr.
And this is my favorite quote. Hate doesn't stop hate. Love stops hate. And hence my shirt with love. It has the quote on it as well from Martin Luther King. And one of the reasons we wanted to make sure that we brought this up is we want to make sure that you guys know that we are here to help stand against the injustices that are going on. And we'd like to start the conversation to let you know that we are here, and anything that you may need or be feeling, we're willing to listen and talk it out with you, because we know that it's a very emotional time for many people.
At the same time, we thought this would be a good opportunity to invite Ms. Meraldo to share some resources that are on the topic of racial equality, I want to say. So I'm going to split to the next slideshow, next page, and we'll let Ms. Rallo talk about some of the books that she's chosen.
Okay, the first one is New Kid. I know some of you might have read New Kid, but it's a graphic novel. It's also the winner of the Newbery Medal for this year for quality in children's literature. It's the first time a graphic novel has ever won that award. And it's a story about a 7th grader, Jerome, who really wanted to go to art school. He's sketching all the time. But his parents enroll him in this prestigious private school. When he gets there, he finds that there is very little diversity. And through the book, which is done very well, the drawings, the illustrations make things a little easier to take, but it's just some of the things he has to go through. The Black students, the teachers call them the wrong names. Anytime there's a mention of like financial aid, people always look sideways at the Black students. So he's really having a tough time getting in, and people are using slang, and so he's just finding it hard to settle in. He does eventually, a few things happen. He ends up making friends. It's a really good story, and with it being a graphic novel, it's just fantastic with the pictures.
Ms. Rallo, I have to say, this is a great book for students in our school, because the reality is, though we have a great school, it is not very diverse. So this really the students can relate to that, being in Picklewaxen.
That's very true. And it's a really good book. It's won a bunch of awards besides the Newbery. It had like 27 awards and recognitions on bestseller lists and things like that, and is very readable, very readable. Plus it's, middle school, so it does hit home in other aspects as well.
Right. All right, the next book.
Okay, Ghost Boys. I know some of you have seen Ghost Boys at school. It was one of our Black Eyed Susan nominees for this year. It actually won in the state of Maryland, grade 6 to 9 novel, Black Eyed Susan Award. It is a fantastic book. It's not a preachy book, But it's a story about 12-year-old Jerome, a young black boy who is playing with a toy gun he got from his friend, and he ends up being shot and killed by a policeman. Policeman happens to be white. And the book is told in alternating chapters of when he is dead and how he sees things play out after his death, and where he meets other ghost boys, which are boys that have been killed in similar situations to him. One of the main ghost boy he meets is Emmett Till, who was killed back in 1955. Then the other chapters are when he's alive, and it's building up to the actual day that he gets shot. It's a very heart-wrenching but very good book. The only person that can actually see his ghost is the daughter of the policeman that shot him. So it's an awareness for her that as much as she loves her dad, he's not perfect. You see how Jerome's death affects not only his family, the community, the policeman's family, his best friend. It's excellent, excellent book. But again, it's not preachy. It's very readable. So I really like this one, and I recommended this one numerous times. So if you haven't read it, you should.
All right. Sounds like a good book.
It does.
It is.
And our next book.
Stamped. You all have heard me talk about Jason Reynolds before. He's a fabulous author. I know some of you have read Long Way Down or the track series with Ghost, Sunny Lou, Patina. This book, he adapted it from an adult book by Ibram X. Kendi. This book is phenomenal. I listened to it first, which was really awesome because, of course, Jason Reynolds narrates it. But again, they say it's not a history book. It's a book about here and now. It's very readable. It's like you're having a conversation, and it starts with racist ideas back in like 1415 in Portugal with a guy named Zurara. That name just cracks me up. I don't know why. It's easy to say. But in the book, like he stops and he pauses and gives you, a minute to think, or he tells you to take a minute to think. And it's just literally a description of what has happened. Some involve, presidents and other leaders. And it's interesting because he lists people as falling into three categories: segregationists, abolitionists, and anti-racists. And I learned quite a lot from listening to it. It brought a new perspective on some things. That's why I'm going back and I'm actually reading the hard copy of it. Our 8th grade Project Lit group, this was the last book we did for the year, and it was very telling to them as well. So it's definitely something. It's not an easy conversation. Nobody ever wants to talk about race and what's going on, but if you really want to learn and to make a change, this is a book that students and parents should read. They can read it together. It might make you feel uncomfortable at times, but it is definitely worth reading. It'll give you a different perspective on things. So I highly recommend it to anybody, at least just to read through it once to see what you think.
And I definitely think that uncomfortable feeling of talking about race is what needs to happen to educate ourselves and to be able to move forward, to be the difference, to make the change that needs to happen. So these incidences don't keep happening over and over again, so we don't keep repeating history.
I agree.
I definitely agree. It's interesting. This book, actually, my wife has. She's going to be lending it out to Miss Fitzgerald this week. So
it is definitely worth the read. If you haven't read it, you should, or listen to it, because it's so, listening to Jason Reynolds read it, you feel like he's talking to you. So if that's something that you prefer than actually reading, it's definitely worth it.
And just because I know it's very difficult with the way things are right now, us being on this side of the screen, you have to give us a call, you have to email us to kind of talk to us, but we are here for you. And we definitely want to be able to encourage you to call us, to talk to us if you're having concerns or you're just kind of having a hard time with everything that's going on in the world right now. So, and
Yep, we're here to support you through it.
exactly. And hopefully, if things go well, we'll be back in the building as of the fall. Cross our fingers. So, all right. So, to some of our more typical things that we talk about, we do have Microsoft Teams this week. Same times that your teacher's been telling you, this will be the last week for Teams up to June 11th. We have all of our 6th and 7th graders coming to school June 10th. Mr. Martin sent out an email with the times. I apologize, we probably should have had that up on here, but you all got the email with the times that you're going to be going there based on your last name. You're not going to be emptying out your lockers. That's for 6th and 7th graders. You're keeping your lockers for next year, so no one's going to be taking anything out of their lockers. In special situations, if there's something you have to have, I would suggest contacting administration.
Yeah, otherwise students are not allowed in the building, nor are adults. We have to be on a schedule to go in ourselves as teachers and staff.
Right. On Wednesday, when you do come in, you'll be dropping off your packet work. So any students that have been doing the packets, unfortunately, if you're doing the packets, you're probably not seeing these videos either. But if you do watch these videos and you are doing packets, then that's the day to drop off your packet to school. So then you can get credit for what you've done.
Please make sure you turn in your packets.
Yes, absolutely. And then you also have the opportunity to turn in your library books and your textbooks. So bring all the stuff that you have to return to school on Wednesday when you come in. In addition,
I wanted to add in, please make sure we have basketball players that have jerseys, because right before we went out on this coronavirus, we had handed out jerseys for the basketball tournament that was going to be the following week, and we do need those returned as well. So if you have a basketball jerseys, 7th and 8th grade players, please return them.
And that also goes into last week was a week for 8th graders, but if you weren't able to make it last week and you saw a package you need to return, you can return them on Wednesday. Just pull up like you did, like they have it set up. They'll guide you as you come in. Just drop off the package so they can get that grade in. And then, of course, on Wednesday, and this is probably the most reason that students are coming in, is to pick up your yearbook. So yearbooks will be available on Wednesday as well. And again, go back to that email that was sent out from Mr. Martin, going over what time you should be coming in.
And reminder, that's only for those who have pre-ordered a yearbook. There are not any extras that are sold on site. You have already had to have purchased it.
Yes. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Now, on top of everything that's going on that we talked about earlier, it is also Pride Month. Okay, so June is Pride Month, and Ms. Rallo is going to go over some books that are on the topic of LGBTQ. But before we go there, I figured just kind of give you a little information as to what Pride Month is, because a lot of people don't even know. Pride Month is celebrated each year in June. It's kind of to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan. The purpose of the month is to celebrate the impact that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals had on history, locally, nationally, and internationally. Celebrations include parades, picnics, parties, workshops, conferences, and concerts. Of course, with the way things are right now, there aren't many of those things going on, but we wanted to recognize that June is Pride Month, especially since this is our last broadcast and it is June. So, and I'm going to switch over to the next slide. We have some resources or some books that Ms. Morales would like to go over.
All of these books, they're all very good. The two, operatic and drama, are graphic novels. A lot of you like the Raina Telgemeier. Drama is by her. Star Crosses by Barbara D. We've got a bunch of other books by her as well. Some of these books, well, they all have main characters that are kind of trying to figure out who they are. Some of them know who they are, and it's just their interactions with people, possibly coming out. They're all very good reads. If you're interested, please check them out. A couple of them, I believe, we have in ebooks, but it's interesting to read through, especially if it's not something that you know about. Maybe you have a friend or yourself who is questioning. These are good books to read as far as that's concerned.
Or an older family member, possibly.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So, thank you, Ms. Rallo.
Sure.
That brings us to our cabanas. Don't forget, they're still operating. 11 to 3, you can stop by the cabana at the firehouse and pick up products if you need it, food, hygiene products. And the lunches are still available at Higdon from 11 to 1. So especially like on Wednesday when you have to drop everything off anyhow and pick up your yearbook, stop by Higdon and get your free lunch. They're free to anyone who comes by, and it's a nice bag full of food that you can have. And then we have our torch run shirts. Reminder that even though we can't have our torch run, it was supposed to be scheduled for last week. We're still trying to help out the cause of Special Olympics by selling the t-shirts. You can contact me. What will probably happen is once you contact me, I'm going to forward you to Gus Proctor. If you have Facebook, you can look him up. He actually goes by August Proctor. Sorry.
Is it Augustus?
Augustus.
Yeah, okay.
But if you type in Proctor or Torch Run, you will find him. He's a Charles County Sheriff's officer who heads this up. He's raised thousands upon thousands for Special Olympics, and it's near and dear to his heart. So adult sizes are $15 and youth are $10. And because I don't have the shirts in my possession, I will be forwarding you to him to be able to pick up a shirt with him and make arrangements.
And as we've said many times before, and I even said earlier, June 11th is our last day. So I figured we put in our little fun waving guy that I've come to love because he's dear to my heart. Let's have him fly through and bam. So yes, June 11th is your last day of school. We've been waiting for this. Well, you've been waiting for this. You still probably get information from us through email and things once school's over, but it's your last day to do any kind of teams or anything like that. And now we have our happy birthdays for the entire summer.
Woohoo, summer babies.
Yes. I will admit I'm a summer baby. I'm July. So happy birthday.
August, so yeah.
Happy birthday to everybody in June. We're not going to name every person. There's just way too many of you, but just know we're thinking of you and happy birthday. Happy birthday to everyone in July.
Ooh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, as the little book in the top left corner says. So, happy birthday. And then we have our August babies. Happy birthday to you.
Woohoo, bringing in the new year.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday to all of you. Again, I wish we could name every one of you, but then we'd be here for another half hour. So. And a very, very special thank you to all of you, students and parents, because we know that parents have worked just as hard as students on this social learning, distance learning thing. So we know it's been difficult with Apex, and then we know it was even more difficult when they introduced Teams, and then it was even more difficult when we had to figure out how to get those things turned back into teachers. So thank you, because it's been quite the ride these past few months. And anything for everybody else before we go on to our next and final slide?
Nope, just thank you and make sure to have a good summer and, finally enjoy and relax.
Yes.
Don't forget to read.
That's right. You may not be able to go on vacation, but a book will take you anywhere.
This is true.
Exactly.
And now it is time for our Pickle Pledge. Miss Rallo, just to let you know what we've been doing is going 3, 2, 1, go, and it seems to work as best as it can because we've been butchering the pledge because we never get it the right timing. So
I'll give you the key is to not to listen to everyone. Say it just like they do on the announcements at school.
Okay, so it's now time for a Pickle Pledge. 3, 2, 1.
With my words and actions, I pledge to be respectful, responsible, safe, and proud. And remember,
you can
hide that Pickle pride.
And now I will get us back to ourselves. There we go. So that's it. This is our last one. We hope you all have a great summer, like Ms. already said.
I think you're still recording. Do you do that on purpose?
Yes. We're still recording to say goodbye before we kind of end it off. So,
Cool.
yeah. We hope you have a good last week of the digital learning teams. And for our 8th graders, we wish you the best of luck going into high school, whether it be McDonough, La Plata, North Point, or any other school that you're zoned for. And to our 7th and 6th graders, we will see you next year. And if we have a couple of 5th graders on here that are watching as well, we're looking forward to meeting you. And we will have things coming out to you about the transition into middle school to make things easier on you. I know by now we've usually had you in the building a few times, but we're working on some things that kind of make you feel comfortable. We'll make sure that you guys are supported when we start the school year. So, all right. I'm going to stop.
Have a great summer.
Have a great
Enjoy your summer.
Enjoy this week. It's supposed to be beautiful.